Greetings and welcome once again into the Bradacombs. Let's try this again. You won't know this, but this is the second time I'm going through this because, well, once I got to the end of filming the first one, I was like, wait a minute, you've got things you left out. Sometimes the bone in the head is very, very prevalent. So anyway, this is basically going to be an update on reading over the past couple of weeks. Maybe a little update on the book. Well, let's start with that first. Didn't get a whole lot of reading done over the past couple of weeks because I really did a push to get the book done. And then again, I'm not sure that I've got it done because as soon as I was like, well, maybe you didn't clarify this. Maybe I got to go back and check that and make sure. So, I don't know if you're ever done writing a book. You just kind of have to let it go. And maybe if you're lucky enough, you can put things that you forgot into the next book. And speaking of the next book, I have somewhat begun doing an outline. Well, no, I've begun doing the outline, but I've somewhat beginning it. And I'm going to start off with this first. I've begun research, or a deeper research, finally, that I'm done with the one book. I can start the other. The Book of the Courtier by Castiglione. This is fascinating. The next book, I should say the sequel to my book, is going to deal with a lot of the courtly graces and just reading. This book takes the view of just a bunch of courtiers sitting around and discussing sometimes, other ladies of the court and that sort of thing, but the courtly graces, how to greet people, poetry, dancing, perhaps making music, all this kind of shtick that is pretty fascinating. I mean, this was written by a courtier. I think it's in the 1500s, 1528. So very fascinating. I've got a big stack of books down here that I showed last week or the week before. I don't remember. Things have been a little crazy for my research books, so I'm going to start getting into those a lot heavier, and which means I don't even know if I want to put those in what my reading has been like, what books I finished. Well, we'll find out. What the hell. So anyway, now let's get to what has happened in the past couple of weeks. Well, what I've read in the past couple of weeks. Here, begun. Well, actually, I listened to this, although I do have it in hard copy. Guy Gavriel Kayes. This is book one of the Sarantine Mosaic. And Sailing to Sarantium is I wouldn't necessarily say a play on Sailing to Byzantium by Yeats, but there are lots of parallels in Mr. Kay's work with Byzantium. As a matter of fact, my understanding is he has taken direct quotes from Justinian and those kinds of big figures in the time period. And this book I mean, I like Guy Gavriel Kay's works. He really does great historical fiction. And it's, taking place on different worlds where you've got two moons and that sort of thing. As a matter of fact, I think this is related to one of the previous books. The Lions of Al-Rasan, was that it? I can't remember, but not at a different time period, but it's still got the two moons and such. He does enjoy doing that. This is strange in that it is a duology. There's a book after this one, and this one really feels more like setting up the sequel. Not that it was bad, but it was just kind of like when is something going to happen? Almost was as I'm reading through it or listening to it. Not that nothing happens. It's just not like his previous books where there's a lot of political intrigue, and there's some in here. I think the most exciting part might have been Chariot Race and the politics thereof. But, I mean, I'm going to get into the second book. I don't know if I'm going to read it or listen to it yet, but I will certainly do that. Another book I finished, I think I finished two books this week. I listened to that one. This Scott Harvath, book 22 or 23. I really like it. I obviously, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't have read the series up to this point. Um, this was a really more expansive one than the previous one, where he was basically going into Ukraine, I think it was, to rescue a kidnapped female, and there were a few other uh, plot points in there as well. This one is wasn't not entirely different. I mean, it's the same basic thing, but basically have 4 or 5 plot points that wind up coming together all at the end. And although that was quite enjoyable, I mean, they were so disparate by the time they get to the end, and they're all part of the same thing. Was a little like, huh? Well, that was convenient. But I mean, it's good. It's good stuff. I enjoyed it. Scott Harvath has a major, uh, 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 what's the word I'm looking for? Relationship change. So that's pretty cool. Let's see how that works out in the future, because in the past it didn't work out for him so well. So we'll see where that goes. And although that was kind of piggyback onto the next book as well, one of the things that gets a little, well, not even tiring, but just like you kind of know that the guy's not going to lose. He's really good at what he does, and it's like he doesn't do any wrong. Although Harvath does get the crap kicked out of him from time to time, and doesn't always, do the right thing. But that's a little different. A little different with this. I don't even know what I'm speaking anymore. Latest Pendergast book, although it's a prequel to the stories that we've had so far, wasn't quite what I was expecting, because we know, if you've read his the Pendergast novels to date, there was a lot of stuff in his past, I should say, that you might have thought they would have gone into a little deeper, which they didn't, which is okay. The story was a good story. I enjoyed reading it very much. I mean, again, it's another of 20 some odd books in the series, and I wouldn't have read it otherwise. But it's just, Pendergast just can never do no wrong. He looks at something. It's almost like he looks at a book and he knows the book from front to back. Almost like that. I mean, he's preternatural. He's more canny than Sherlock Holmes. Uh, so that gets a little tiring a bit, but there was some. Number one, it's a prequel before any of the other books start. As a matter of fact, at the end of this one, he enters one of the other books, uh, as you would remember the book. But he's not going to die. It's a prequel, and there are characters that show up that you don't see in any of the others. So you're kind of thinking, I know what's probably going to happen to this guy or these guys, and you are correct. But still fun reads. But it gets a little tiring. The person who can do no wrong kind of storyline. He has gotten himself, his butt kicked a lot of times, or several times at any rate, and had a lot of character development through them. But still, almost always, the man's on top. So I've begun to read the prequel to the sequel of the Austin Ard trilogy from Tad Williams, Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn. Those I read originally a long, long time ago, many, many decades. Yeah, I'm old. Enjoyed the heck out of them, and I think this was 2016, and I'm just now starting to get into it. Just started. I mean, thank God it's a bit of a thin novel, and it's not too terrible, but Tad Williams writes, books that would sink ships. He really fills them up there. And finally, I am continuing ahead with Peril's Gate. I'm over halfway through, finally. Man, I've been reading this thing for about a month, and it's not that I haven't been reading it. Well, no, it is that I haven't been reading it. Past couple of weeks trying to finish my book. She writes books very good. I mean, dang, they're fantastic. But you want to spend a little bit more time paying attention to them is the thing. And if my mind is elsewhere, working on this, or thinking about taking mom or dad to their various appointments or whatnot, I don't have the attention span to continue on with such a thing. So I'm finally getting back to that this week. With that much left, I'm not going to finish this weekend, but hopefully I will finish it by next weekend. And I may even do an update then. It's been a little while, I think, since I've done anything that I remember at any rate. Next, I think what I want to do is a little bit of a writing update, like my style, how I go about doing that sort of thing. It would be a part 2 to a part 1 that was, what, 3 months ago now? I can't remember. But anyway, that's it. Thanks for joining me in the Bradacombs once again, and we'll do this again soon, huh? We'll catch you guys later.